flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The clerk call the roll, please.
Burns.
Here.
Collins. Here. Herbie. Holt.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Moore. Here. Ness.
Here.
Is there a motion to excuse Mr. Burns?
I move to excuse Councilwoman Herbie.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we excuse Councilwoman Herbie. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion to excuse, let it be known by the sign of voting aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Councilwoman Herbie is excused. Item number 2 is minutes. You should have all gotten copies of the minutes. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? Hearing none, the minutes will then stand approved as presented. Item number 3 is presentations. The first of these presentations will be Business of the Month Award. And the Business of the Month for this month is Impressions Salon and Barber. Is there anybody here from, supposed to be, from Impressions? January Business of the Month is another example of an entrepreneur who has built a successful business here in Forest Park. Impressions is a full-service barber and salon located at 1120 Kemper Meadows Drive. Business owner Douglas Peaks has been helping Forest Park residents look the best for well over 20 years, first as a barber on Northland Boulevard and later as the owner of this successful business. He opened Impressions in 2006. This popular Forest Park business has 2 different sides, a barbershop that provides hairstyling for the entire family and a full-service beauty salon complete with nail care services. Indeed, if you have a special event coming up like a wedding, family reunion, or job interview, look no further than Impressions. Their expert team of barbers and stylists can help you look a lot like a star each day and every day. Affordable top-notch barber and salon services is an inviting and family-oriented environment. That's what we will find at Impressions. Plus, you will have no doubt discovered what customers of Doug, like me, already know. He is one of the nicest people you will meet, someone who has been a long time and important member of our business community. Unfortunately, Doug is not feeling well tonight, but supposedly accepting this award on his behalf is his business partner and good friend, Mr. Richard Bedford, who is also not here at the moment. However, I will make sure, Paul and I will make sure that Impression Salon and Barber gets their Business of the Month award. And we want to thank them for continuing their many years of service and businesses in Forest Park. Item number 2 on the presentations is an award that we will present to former Councilwoman Ms. Sheila Cottle. Sheila, would you come forward, please?
Thank you very much.
Forest Park City Council recognizes Sheila J. Cottle for outstanding dedication and loyal service as a member of the City Council of the City of Forest Park from December 1st, 2005 to 11/30/2017. Sheila, thank you very much for your service and congratulations to you. You are.
If I can just say a
Sure.
word. Thank you. I would like to thank the city council members for this plaque this evening and award. I really appreciate it. I also have been a public servant for 12 years as a city council member. I appreciated my father, David B. Stombach. His descendants were from Germany, and my mother, Lucille Hensley Stombach, her descendants were from North Carolina area as Cherokee Indians. I want to thank my husband and sons, BJ and Stephen, for being here this evening. BJ and Stephen both graduated from the Forest Park Winton Woods City School Systems. BJ is an architect and keeps very busy with that and many other things. And Stephen is working for one of the banks and is finishing up his degree in business management and IT. I have really appreciated serving as the public service liaison to the Fire and Police Department, and I will continue to serve on the We Thrive program. And if you are not involved in We Thrive, we need every resident there. I want to thank the residents for their support the past 12 years. We Thrive is a community program for us to be healthy, well, and participate in Forest Park. We've been here 45 years, and it continues to be a diverse community with wonderful things happening. So thank you so much.
Sheila. Just a minute, please. All right. Comments from other members of council?
I didn't have long to know you, Sheila, but just the amount of public service that you've done over a decade is just commendable for anyone. The fact that you decided to get involved and all the people that you help. So thank you for your service.
Thank you. I hope to continue also to volunteer because that's such an important part of our community. Thank you.
Anyone else?
Yes. Sheila, thank you for being a neighbor. You have been a wonderful neighbor to every resident of Forest Park, and the amount of contribution and true concern that you have given to our community. So thank you for being a neighbor. Also, thank you for being a colleague. It was my pleasure to serve with you for the 2 years that I've been on council. You were always someone that I could look to for leadership, and you very quickly, we became friends, and you very quickly got me up to speed on what I needed to know to be an effective councilwoman. So thank you for being a colleague. And thirdly, thank you for being a friend. Like I said, to know Sheila Cotto really is to love her. And you have a true concern for your fellow man, and not everyone has that. So this community was blessed to have you serve in the role as city councilwoman.
Thank you. It probably comes from my nursing background. That's so important.
Anyone else? Okay, Sheila, Mr. D, go ahead.
Thank you. Sheila, I just want to thank you for working so diligently and jointly. You know, I know in some instances we didn't necessarily see eye to eye on certain things, but we always came around to what was best for the community. And that's what you want. You want honest, clear deliberation with someone who is faithful to their issues and the causes that we have before them. Your family's a wonderful set of folks. I remember BJ and talk with him as he was starting his career. He's turned out to be a great young man, and I'm just proud of you and the people that you represent in your family. Thank you for being a part of Forest Park.
Thank you. It's interesting because one day I said to BJ, well, what do you do? And he goes, well, I designed OSU's new dorms and Yale, Connecticut's new dorms and 4 Mercy Hospitals North and working on 10 more projects. I'm going, okay. So it's just an honor to have that, and that he's so into what he's doing. But thank you so much.
Okay, Sheila, you and I have been on council together for a lot of years. And before that, we served together on many committees and groups with the school district. I know that you, PTA, for an example, you were involved in that for a lot of years. You were the liaison for the ad hoc committee of the Hall of Fame for a number of years, and you yourself was inducted into the Hall of Fame. I don't know that everybody knows that, but you are an inductee into the City of Forest Park Hall of Fame, along with Barry. So you all have been in the community for a number of years, a lot of years actually, and you've done a lot of things, not just as council member and not just with the school district, but some of the things behind the scenes. I know that even before it was popular to talk about health data, health statistics that through the county that we were looking at and looked at for a long time. We didn't have a lot of people when we first started that. There was just a handful of us, but you were one of those people that helped to get that started and nourished it and had it to move forward. I know also that when we started a program, another program that not very many people are aware of or was aware of, when we organized the Safe House over at the fire department for people, young children actually, who were having a particular problem, generally in the evening and at nights, where council members actually volunteered to serve over there because we had to have somebody there in case there was a fire alarm and the firefighters had to all go out. We all volunteered to be there. So a lot of things have happened. Some of them have gotten a lot of publicity, some haven't, but they were all important. And it's important for the city, as we often say, for people to volunteer. It's one thing to volunteer, it's easy to volunteer for those things that are going to be hot public items. But it gets a little bit harder to volunteer for those things where the only people who know that you're actually doing the work are the people who are there doing the work with you. It's not going to show up in the newspapers. It's not going to show up on the TV news. The only place it's going to show up is in your heart. And I want to thank you for all that you've done for us.
Thank you, Mayor Johnson. I
Thank
appreciate
you.
that.
Sure. Take care. Okay, the next presentation will be, I'll turn this over to Councilwoman Holt for beautification for the holiday lights.
Good evening. I'm only showing there 2 people. There were 15 awards given out for the holiday decoration, and I'm showing only 2 participants are here tonight. So I will call the names of the 2 that are here, allegedly. Bill Broker, most family friendly. Thank you. Jason and Kelly Hodgetts, most colorful. Thank you. And I would like to say to all of the residents of Forest Park, thank you for participating in the Christmas decorations and continue to do this every year. And we really appreciate that. So thanks for keeping Forest Park beautiful. Thank you.
Is there anybody else that we didn't know about? Okay.
Are there any other participants here that I didn't call their name? They only gave me 2. Okay. But as I said, there were 15, and they also will be receiving rewards, and we will make sure that they get theirs. Thank you.
Okay, now, as always, we move down to item number 4. This is, before we go to item number 4, as is our usual custom, I will say that we're going to the portion of the agenda for comments from the public. However, if you choose to stay, you might. If you choose to leave, we understand. It's getting colder out there, and so feel free to leave if you need to, and we'll take a moment while you do that. But again, thank you all for coming, and thank you all for all you do for the city of Forest Park. Okay, item number 4, communications from the public. This is the time for citizens to comment on matters before council or to ask questions of concern to them. When recognized, please come forward to the podium, give your name and address, and then state your comments or questions. Council meetings are tape recorded for ease of transcription. Comments are limited to 5 minutes. Is there anyone from the audience who would like to address the council on any issue? Would you please come over to the podium, sign in, tell us who you are, and tell us what your issue is.
Okay, my name is Howard Williams. I stay at 516 Messenger Drive. That right there is my wife Angela. My complaint is that I got 2 tickets on 2 cars that we own. One is in her name. The other one's in my name. I also own multi-vehicles, several vehicles. Okay. I've had problems before with Forest Park. Particularly me, I used to own a business, a limousine service. Okay. I had them come down my house one day and tore all my limousines away for the police department. These cars are parked in front of my house. I can't drive but one car. She can't drive at all. The problem I have is the inconsistencies on when they're giving out tickets. I have 2 neighbors of mine. One was parked behind my car, whose car has been sitting longer than my car, and he wasn't ticketed at all. Got a guy down that stays down there that stays in the house, has a vehicle that's overlapping the sidewalk. He wasn't ticketed. Now, the problem I have is, I know it's a rule, 72 hours, that you're supposed to move your vehicles. Okay, like I say, these vehicles are parked in front of my house. Her vehicle was actually parked in between 2 driveways. Okay. When I had my limousine service, I asked could I have a driveway put in. Okay. I've known other neighbors that we asked could they have driveways put in, and they were allowed to have them put in. I was denied that request. Okay. So, had I had that option, then my cars wouldn't have been on the street. So the problem I have is even when the officer wrote the ticket, he puts on the tickets, if they're not moved, that they're going to get towed. Like I say, I can only drive 1 car. I've always had multi-cars since I've been out here. I've been out here since '86. So I'm a citizen of Forest Park. And right now it's just me and her. And I'm her caregiver. So as far as me being able to move some cars, I'm dealing with her situation. And I just think that I'm being harassed. But like I say, these vehicles they're not in front of anybody else's house but mine.
Okay.
But like I said, if they would allow me, that I was told that from downstairs that I couldn't put a driveway in.
Okay, Howard. 2 things. One, how many vehicles do you have at present? total?
I have 3 vehicles total. Okay. She has a car. It's a Porsche Cayenne. She had her leg cut off in September.
That's 4. Three plus hers or 3?
No, her, I'm counting hers.
Okay,
I have 2 vehicles myself. I'm not gonna,
okay.
okay. Her vehicle was also ticketed.
Okay, I will ask the city manager to check with both the police department and the,
Well, the thing I have a problem with, they're not consistent. I mean, I know it's the law, but they're not consistent on, like I said, it's a guy right behind me, was parked right behind me. His car had been there, and I'm not trying to get my neighbor in trouble.
no, I understand, but hear what I'm saying. I'm going to have, Mr. Hodges is going to check on the whole situation, including the part about the sidewalk. But one of the things, in terms of the consistency, the only way we can know is for him to check, because it may not necessarily be, number one, the same police officer who would have ticketed yours or the neighbors. We won't know whether, there may have been very well a ticketing of the neighbors that we don't know about, but that's what he will do. He will check that and find out, and he'll get back to you. So if you would, you put your name and address on there.
Yes.
He will get back to you either from that information and or through a phone call if you want to put your phone number on there as well.
Okay.
But I will assure you that it will be looked into and somebody will be back in touch with you.
All right. Also, I wanted to see what I needed to do to have a handicap parking sign out in front of the house, or I was told that I needed to talk to you about that.
No, that's not something that the city would do. We don't put,
I asked person.
no, we don't put handicap signs on streets, or, as a matter of fact, they would be in a parking lot or in an area where the public would park. We don't put them on streets.
Right. Well, I talked to someone who told me, and then I talked to the BMD, and they said that was something the city would do.
If it's on city, but it would have to be city property for us to mark.
Well, I'm just checking, I'm just trying to see if I get something to make life easier for me, you know.
Okay.
Can I
Well,
ask you a
again,
question?
we will make,
Yes,
Mr.
ma'am.
Hodges will get back in touch with you on that issue.
Okay. Yes, ma'am.
Do you not have a driveway, period? You're saying you don't have it?
I have a single driveway. I have a bi-level, 4-bedroom, so I have a single driveway. The guy to the right of me has up to 4 cars he can park. The guy to the left of me has up to 4 cars he can park. So they got room to park their cars in their driveway. I requested to have a driveway put in so that I wouldn't have, because like I said, I own the limousine service, and I wanted to put my cars on, you know, on the driveway then. But I was told I couldn't they wouldn't let me do it. So I don't know why, but I've known other people that.
Okay, that's
Okay.
something that the mayor said he's going to have the city manager.
Okay.
Yes, it was just a question. I was just curious.
Well, like I say, I have a single driveway,
Okay.
so I would still have a vehicle on the street.
Right.
You know.
So that's why I really need to check on, because they may have done that.
Oh yeah. Then it's, like I say, it's a mobile home up the street that's been sitting up there forever.
And what street is this?
On Bessemer.
I stay on Bessenger, but it's a mobile home, a black mobile home on McKelvey that's been sitting up there, and they ain't even taking it in. And it's black, and it's just sitting there and sitting there and sitting there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
All right, sir.
Thank you.
And we will be getting back to you on both those issues.
Okay, thank you very much.
Anyone else from the public? We do have a young lady here to, would you come up and sign in and tell us your name and who you are as well?
Do you know how long it'll be before somebody contacts you?
Mr. Hodges.
We'll contact you this week because you got several issues. One, you mentioned the driveway, and I think this is an issue of why they did not approve it. We approve driveway widenings all the time. So if they denied you, okay, but if they denied you, they would have denied you for a reason. And about the only reason is there's not adequate space to put it in. But short of that, I'm certain I'll get back with you and say there is no reason to deny a driveway apron if it's put in the standards and there's adequate room to put it in. That is the right setbacks. That's the first thing. Second thing is on the vehicles that you talk about in terms of inconsistency, that's a pretty straightforward matter. If there's a vehicle across the sidewalk, then it'll be cited if there's one past the 72 hours. So we don't excuse those that are in violation, but we'll make sure we can find out, well, why the other vehicles that you mentioned, we're not cited. Right, but there should be consistency. It should be consistency, and then two, whoever came out and cited you, we have to identify, well, why didn't you cite the others? I don't know if it was because a complaint was filed or anything like that, but, well, it still could be a complaint.
Well, like I said, the vehicles, they running. I do have insurance.
It's a 72-hour violation.
I'm just saying, I do have insurance on them.
Okay. All right, but I'll look in that for you, and then I'll look at the RV that you mentioned, and I don't know if you were saying that's on the street or in the driveway or on the side of the house.
It's on the street, it's on the Kelvin.
Okay, so if it's on the Kelvy and it's a 72-hour violation, again, it's pretty straightforward. We'll cite that vehicle.
Like I said, I'm not really.
Right. Well, there should be consistency, and I think that was your issue, that there wasn't. Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, Howard. Yes, ma'am. Would you tell us?
Oh, my name is Rosalind Fultz. I'm a constituent liaison for Congressman Shabbat, and I want to thank Mayor Johnson and the members of City Council and City Manager Hodges for allowing me to just take a few minutes to say hello. I'm new with the Congressman's office in downtown Cincinnati, and I'm a constituent liaison. And one of the reasons I wanted to come out is to let you know that I'm available. Forest Park and some other communities are my responsibility, so this is not the first, or this is the first time, but it won't be the last time that I'll be out. And I brought some things. I want to thank Ms. Dirksen as well, because I called her ahead of time, and being in the chambers tonight was sort of like reminiscing. I formerly worked for Cincinnati City Council member Charlie Winburn, so to hear citizens and to see the awards, it was kind of nostalgic for me. But I wanted to just say that we're available to you and your constituents for service. We're not a policy or legislative office. All of that is done in Washington. But what we do as a courtesy to citizens is to pass along any comments, questions, and statements that people want to make, and we fill them in a Google Doc and send those to the congressman because he's very interested in what people have to say. And we do schedule meetings in downtown Cincinnati sometimes when the congressman is available, but he spends most of his time in Washington. So if any of you want to meet with the district director, Mike Cantwell, that might be a bit easier to negotiate. But I just have some material that I wanted to distribute. And each person in the office actually has an assignment of a cluster of federal agencies. And one of the benefits that being in touch with our office presents is that throughout the federal bureaucracy, there are individuals who are congressional liaisons. We can expedite problems. And our service areas cover the military, they cover Social Security, IRS. HUD is one of my agencies. I also do passports, but we have a range of services. So if you have constituents and other things that I brought, we have a brochure, and I wanted to give you each a privacy release form because as you are about in the community and people, it's amazing the number of people who still don't have email. So if people can just call our office, we will send them a privacy release form. That gives us an opportunity to get a written description of their problem, and then we can advocate for them with the federal agency. So if I could just be allowed to pass this out. And also I wanted to, again, recognize Congress. I've elevated you to Congress. Councilwoman Collins, who is a student of Congressman Shabbat. And so I wanted to say hello again. I had the pleasure of meeting the city manager and Councilwoman Collins, and actually your honoree this evening, Miss. Yes, I met her last week at the chamber luncheon. And so I'm just very impressed with everything that's going on in the community. And if I can ever be of assistance to any of you or your businesses, Congressman Shabbat is chairman of the Small Business Committee in the U.S. House of Representatives. So the clerk said that I should pass this out. So would you want me to just go down and pass them out? Okay. And thank you so much on behalf of the Congressman, and I'll be back.
Thank you. Is there anyone else from the public who would like to address? Come up and tell us who you are and where you live, sir.
Oh, sorry, is that yours? Sorry. I didn't plan to speak, but I figured while I'm here, I'd give you. My name's Bill Brocker. I've lived in Forest Park since I was 3 years old, and I'll be 53 this year. I'm also a member of the Knights of Columbus over here in Forest Park, Glen Murray Council. For those that don't know, we've sold our building. We have been in the Southland location since 1972, and with as all the other organizations like this are going, it struggles, and it's hard to find new young people, and we just felt that we were getting to a point that the building was too much for us. So we sold, and there's a church, Grace International, is in process now of converting the main hall into their church facility. And so we will continue to be here. We've arranged with them to meet in the building for the next year while we determine what we want to do. But we will remain in Forest Park, and we've always been active with the police department. We sponsored a number of police dogs over the years and worked the national night outs and other stuff with the city for years. And we hope to continue doing stuff like that, and just let you know that we'll be, when our sign's gone, we'll still be around. So,
thanks, sir.
Sure.
Appreciate it. Anyone else from the public would like to address the council? Anyone else? Okay, hearing none, we move to item number 5. This would be our reports from standing committees.
Thank you. And call anytime.
The first of the reports from standing committees is the Public Safety Committee. Councilwoman Nuss.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor and Council, just wanting to remind everyone that on January 24th, 2018 at 5 p.m. in room 3B, we'll have a Public Safety Committee meeting. As you all know, Mike Rupp, we had a retirement celebration for him, and he sent a thank you note. He says, to all employees, thank you so much for the cards and gift cards. The party was very special to me. Thanks again. That concludes my report at this time, Mayor.
Questions for Councilwoman Nuss? Councilwoman Nuss, I have no listings on the agenda for the work session that's to be held on next Monday. Do you have any to add?
No, sir, I do not.
Next committee report is Ways and Means. Councilwoman Herbie is absent. There are no items on the agenda for her at this time. We'll go to the next committee report is Community Development. Mr. Barnes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no report. However, would like to express my gratitude for the concern that was expressed during the loss of my stepfather last month. Due to that, I had to travel most of the month of December. So there will not be a meeting with the school board this month as we had planned for this Thursday. That we'll reschedule that accordingly. So thank you.
Any questions for Mr. Burns? Hearing none, Mr. Burns, I have no items on the agenda for you. Do you have any to add?
No, I do not.
Next committee is Law Committee, Councilwoman Collins.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I do not have a report at this time. However, I would like to take this opportunity to invite the citizens to join me tomorrow, Wednesday, January the 17th, in room 1B for the Law Committee meeting. And that's tomorrow at 7 o'clock.
Okay. Anything else?
No.
Councilwoman Collins, I have one item on the agenda for you, liquor license request for shooters. Do you have anything to add?
No, I do not.
Thank you. Next report is Human Resources Committee, Councilwoman Holt.
I do not have a human resource report tonight. Thank you.
I have no items on the agenda for you for the work session of the 22nd. Do you have anything to add?
I would like to discuss the council people's iPad replacements rule.
Okay. Let's see, that would be, that's Rob, so that would be Robin Harley. And I'll put it with Mr. Hodges. I'll just let you do that one. Mr. Hodges will do that. That's the iPad replacement.
Okay.
Any others?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay. The next committee report is Public Improvement and Facilities, Councilwoman Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have no report at this time, but I would like to remind the residents that Public Works have been working very hard. We've had several snow events, and our principal goal during snowstorms is to keep the major thoroughfares open. And so during any heavy snowfall, crews will salt and plow continuously, beginning with our primary routes and proceeding to the residential streets. And citizens are encouraged to remove parked vehicles from city streets when snow is predicted. And that completes my report.
Any questions for Councilwoman Moore? Hearing none. Councilwoman Moore, I have no items on the agenda for you. Do you have any to add?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Next report is Intergovernmental Relations and Communications. That's my committee. I have no report for that committee. I will have one agenda item on for the 22nd, and that's the Clerk of Council's workload. I will answer any questions if there are any. Hearing none, we'll move to item number 6, the Mayor's report. Two things, well, a couple of things in brief to add to what Councilwoman Moore just talked about. Again, I want to thank all of the citizens who made calls to commend our Public Works people for the great job that they're doing in removing, in the snow and ice removal. One of the things that always amazes me is when you have the opportunity to drive outside the city and you do a comparison as to what ours look like and what everybody else's look like. It's very easy to see that the praise is well deserved. On the other hand, it's sometimes we take for granted the work that is being done because we come to expect that it's going to be done in such a professional way. The second thing that I would mention is that on the next council meeting in February, which would be the 5th, we will be taking up the issue of approving the contract, the city manager's contract. That contract has been completed. It might need some adjustments, a few adjustments. We're in the process of finishing that negotiations. You probably should have received a copy of that. through an email. It is basically the same contract that we already approved. The only there are some differences that are being made, and frankly, those differences are to the city's advantage in that Mr. Hodges has gracefully agreed to give up some of the benefits that would have been automatically coming to him. So if you have not received that, you need to let us know, and if you have received it, please review it between now and the next council meeting when we will be formally acting on it. That would conclude my report. I would answer any questions if there are any. Next item on the agenda is item number 7, the city manager's report. Mr. Hodges.
All right, well, thank you. First, I want to thank the community for a wonderful retirement party that they provided me last year. And I also thank the community for allowing me to come back for a little bit. So we're going to work things through with or without a contract and make sure everything stays steady. Somewhat related to that, I want to distribute to council a memo that I have prepared. That's an executive summary. So rather than take all your time going through the details here, I'll give you this summary. These are on the administrative reassignments that I'm making this year. And because we have had a change in the administration, so to speak, within a very short period of time, I just think it's important the council know this. This is all administrative, and normally I probably would be taking action without necessarily providing this, but I think it's just better at this time that council's aware of what the thinking is and where we're going, because one of the things I want to make sure we do is that we have a good, solid operation and administration for the long term. And since I know council will soon be underway in selecting a more permanent city manager, your awareness of what's occurring now is just going to be important so you to be aware. So if you have any comments afterwards, you can let me know. You can note that at least in some of the positions, because the assignments are still under consideration, it should be handled with just a little bit of confidentiality. It's not top secret or anything else, but we haven't finalized many of these things. That's why I'm giving it to you now, because they're under consideration. Finally, I would report that all the departmental reports have been completed, included in the council packet, and also placed on file with the clerk of council for public inspection. So that would conclude my report, but I would respond to any questions if you have any.
Any questions for city manager? Hearing none, we move to item number 8, other reports, the first of those being Law Director Mr. Wyckoff.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Since at least the last 2-3 months, the police department and myself have been very busy in 2 categories. One, on numerous public records requests that have been coming in that I've been responding to. Also, there's a slight change in Ohio law coming up regarding accessibility of a public record previously excluded, which would be leads reports, the law enforcement directives. And also, we've spent numerous hours in municipal court regarding one individual who now has pending 12 cases. 3 of them he's appealed to the Court of Appeals after having been found guilty. And so we're going through that entire process again with 12 new cases. So unfortunately, it's taking a lot of time away from our police officers patrolling and instead sticking them down in the courtroom for hours at a time. But we're working through those, and hopefully his prior convictions will be upheld by the Court of Appeals and he'll be found guilty of the current charges. But that is the end of my report unless there are any questions.
Questions for Mr. Wyckoff? Hearing none, thank you, sir. Next report, Clerk of Council, Ms. Sturkson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to report that resolution numbers 44-2017 through 47-2017 were posted as required. And that concludes my report.
Any questions for Clerk of Council? Hearing none, thank you, Ms. Sturkson. Next item on the agenda would be New business. First of those will be a resolution, or would there be a motion in order?
No.
These are first, okay. The first one is resolution number 01-2018. Clerk, please read that resolution.
Resolution number 01-2018, amending resolution number 18-2017, authorizing the city manager to enter into an agreement with Bryn Lee Mountain Fire Apparatus for the disposal of surplus fire apparatus property. Whereas resolution number 18-2017 passed on August 7th, 2017, authorized the sale of one 2003 Farrar fire apparatus 107-foot ladder truck, 107-foot ladder truck, and one 1997 Farrar fire apparatus fire engine to Bryn Lee Mountain Fire Apparatus. And whereas the city now has the opportunity to sell this surplus fire apparatus property directly and no longer require the services of Bryn Lee Mountain Fire Apparatus. And whereas by selling this surplus fire apparatus property directly, the city saves 10% commission fee, which would have been required from Bryn Lee Mountain Fire Apparatus. And whereas the city council has determined that it is in the best interest of the city of Forest Park to sell the 2003 Farrar fire apparatus 107-foot ladder truck by means of Finley Fire Equipment Company in the amount of $45,000, and the 1997 Farrar fire apparatus fire engine to Miss Vicki Goodson in the amount of $3,500. Now therefore be it resolved by the council of the city of Forest Park, Ohio. Section 1, that the city council hereby declares the following property as surplus, obsolete, and of no further use to the city, and authorizes the sale of the said property by means of Finley Fire Equipment Company for the 2003 Farrar fire apparatus 107-foot ladder truck, and by means of Miss Vicki Goodson for the 1997 Farrar fire apparatus fire engine. Section 2, that the city manager is hereby authorized and directed to enter into an agreement with Finley Fire Equipment Company for the 2003 Farrar fire apparatus 107-foot ladder truck in the amount of $45,000, and by means of Miss Vicki Goodson for the 1997 Farrar fire apparatus fire engine in the amount of $3,500 for the disposal of said surplus city property. Section 3, this resolution shall be in full force from and after its passage.
Okay, so would the motion be in order?
Yes.
Is there a motion, Councilwoman Holt?
I make a motion that we adopt resolution number 0.2018.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt resolution number 01-2018. Is there any discussion, Councilwoman Holt?
No, since it was read in full, it was self-explanatory, no further discussion I feel is necessary.
Anyone else have discussion? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll on resolution 01-2018?
Burns,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Nuss.
Yes.
Resolution 01-2018 passes 6-0. Next item under new business is item B, resolution number 02-2018. Is there, would the clerk please read that by title, read that in full?
Resolution number 02-2018, a resolution waiving the formal bidding process and extending existing insurance coverage. Whereas it is necessary to maintain insurance coverage for areas of city services, and whereas the current 3-year arrangement with Ohio Plan Risk Management, Inc. expires on April the 4th, 2018, and whereas staff has reviewed this matter, and do not believe it will be timely to seek bids for insurance under pending matters, now therefore be it resolved by the council of the city of Forest Park, Ohio. Section 1, council hereby waives the formal bidding process and authorizes staff to negotiate an extension with the current coverage with existing insurance provider for 1 year, i.e. Highland Group, Cincinnati. Section 2, this resolution shall be in full force and effect on its passage.
Motion, Councilwoman Hope.
I move for adoption of resolution number 02-2018.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt Resolution 02-2018. Is there any discussion?
The same applies. Since it was read in full, I don't feel that any more discussion is necessary since it's self-explanatory.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll on Resolution 02-2018?
Collins,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Nuss,
Yes.
Burns.
Yes.
Resolution number 02-2018 passes 6-0. Is there any further business to come before the body? Is there any further business to come before the body? Hearing none, meeting is adjourned.